Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Thank God it's Friday, and joining us now is Nnamdi Azikiwe with stories trending around the world.
Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. That's my new first name on Fridays.
Dr. Mati has just spread the Friday spirit. I'm so excited. I'm so glad.
It's so beautiful.
Good to see you, Annie.
Good to see you all, Dr. Abati, Ayo, Rufai.
The pride of Ogidi.
Yes, we're ready. We're ready to get started.
Oh, yeah.
So, good morning to everyone out there watching. Thank you all for starting your day with us. So we start what's trending today by taking you to Nnamdi Azikiwe University's campus, where days after announcing a ban on signing out ceremonies for students, a new video is going around showing security officers forcefully removing female students from campus because of taking part in that same signing out process. Let's watch the video and discuss it on the other side. So for background, signing out ceremonies are when students will write on one another's shirts on the last day of school and just general activities marking the moment of finally being done with the school year. But the issue is that in the past, some events like this have become violent. So that's what led to UNIZIK putting out this statement earlier this week, banning signing out altogether because of what they said have been recurring incidents of chaos, violence, and disruption. One person saying, "How can a tertiary institution threaten students with guns in the name of enforcing a ban on signing out for final year students? The vice chancellor should be ashamed." So the school made their reasons very clear for banning signing out ceremonies, but like the tweet said, and what we saw in the video, guns were present in that interaction, and it seems to have escalated pretty quickly. And Ayo, I'll start with you since we were discussing nursery bans. Yeah. Nursery, this is now university, so how are you seeing this?
So even though we're a banning nation, everything, the solution to a lot of things, ban. In this regard, you can understand there's a justification for it. Just as I mentioned yesterday, there was a justification for the banning of nursery school ceremonies. In this instance, the reason for this was that it's usually violent and it's chaotic. And we have seen videos like that where people go to the extreme in celebrating their last day in university or in school. And so the management or the leadership of Nnamdi Azikiwe University are well within their rights. But then what the challenge is that when we try to enforce this ban, you then do the very same thing that you're trying to prevent by enforcing the ban, which is violence and and chaos. That was very chaotic. When you have the thing about rules and regulations is that in a normal situation where it makes sense is that when you're going to enforce a new law, new practice, new regulation, especially on a tradition that's gone on for a while in the university, give some time for sensitization and awareness so that the people who are the beneficiaries of this new law and this new regulation are aware. A lot of times people are ignorant. Yes, they say ignorance is not an excuse when it comes to the law, but the truth is that when you don't do your own part in ensuring that the people or the students know and are given enough notice, there's enough sensitization, and then and it's new and someone flouts the rule, it should be at least a warning. Not such, heavy-handedness. I think it was too heavy-handed for the crime. And that's where, so at the end of the day, in trying to correct one wrong, you do a greater wrong. And that's what we've been seeing all through this week. Right from the airline issue, turn off your phone, right, but the way it was handled, wrong. The issue of the NYSC lady in Anambra State, yes, there were vigilantes trying to find out if the Yahoo boys, the way it was done, wrong. So the problem is not that we have rules, regulations, laws that have to be followed or the enforcing of it. It is the fact that when they are trying to do it, it is heavy-handed. So I hope, again, we're back to this table of the people who perpetrated this violence are brought to book. There's some kind of consequence for their actions, and I hope that the lady or the person in question is compensated, even though her identity hasn't been revealed. I don't know if it's a good idea for it to be even revealed at this point.
Absolutely. So we'll keep following that as we always follow all of our stories on this show. So now to that big financial headline, with the CBN telling the public that for the first time since 2021, Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves rose to $41 billion in August. This day newspaper also exclusively learning that the ban has more ambitions to build the country's reserves to at least $100 billion. So the special advisor on information, Bayo Onanuga, saying this latest milestone was reached without our country having a massive inflow from oil. Adding, I can bet that Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Nasir El-Rufai, and Babashir Lawal would never acknowledge this remarkable success. They are more interested in their doomed campaign to overthrow Bola Tinubu. Given the fact that this is the highest level of foreign reserves in over 3 years, it is significant. And as this announcement came, so did another from President Tinubu, this time telling Nigerians in the diaspora to come back home to build a more prosperous country. So according to Onanuga on X, President Tinubu, speaking in Tokyo, said, I'm happy to report that many of our people are returning home. For economic reasons, some people might decide to stay away, but for the economic growth and opportunity available in Nigeria, don't stay away, adding, if you do stay away, who will build it? And Rufai, I'll start with you on this, the 41 billion reserve story first, because it feels like it's being positioned either as an economic issue or as a political one.
We have said constantly, 41 billion reserve. What are the components of what makes up the reserve? We are also taking a lot of loans at this point in time. So when you take loans and it filters into your reserves and all of that, can we also say the case? We're also saying what are the fundamentals? We are bringing a lot of hot money in, foreign portfolio investment, which is not good in the long run for the economy because it's easy entry, easy exit. It's not sustainable. What we are saying is that we should have an economy that FDI is coming. In terms of that, we are low on that. Look at the capital importation numbers. So the numbers are clear. That's why I say it's a danger of a single story. Yes, you can have remittances increase and all of that. You can also have, but you see, what they will not tell you is that I think at some point this year that there was a slight drop because the CBN had to take some money from this reserve to be able to shore up the naira. They will not tell you that. So it's this government of headlines. We want to celebrate headlines. I'm not saying don't celebrate your headlines, but I'm saying let's be holistic across board and tell the full story. It doesn't mean things are uhuru yet. We are celebrating this at a time that we've not been able to fund most of the projects in our budgets. We're having many budget cycles running concurrently. No money is being released to be able to get anything done. There are lots of problems in the system and the ecosystem of the economy of this country. So please, we are saying factor all that in so that we can have a bigger and a more robust economy. That's just it. But this idea of, okay, let's celebrate, we'll see. If Nigeria starts to do well, if we see the signs, like President Tinubu was saying people should come back in, we want people to come back in. Nobody had to campaign too much for people to come back when they came back during Obasanjo's time. Because they saw the signs. But I've also seen a lot of people that came back during Obasanjo's time leave because of the state of the economy. So kudos to him. He's trying his best. But we are not there yet as regards the state of things of the economy. And that's just it. And him trying to score a political point by saying, I bet the legs of Peter Obi and the legs are not saying, it's not necessary. Let's focus on what we can do. Yes, net foreign reserves did increase from about 3 billion when President Buhari got in there to about over 20-something billion now. That's the net foreign reserves, because when you pull out all your encumbrances. But you see, if Mr. Bayo Onanuga want to play politics, let's ask him. This same government didn't make campaign on Buhari's records. So if you are trying to indict the last administration and say, oh, since the last administration, it's still the same APC.
Right.
That's if you want to go political. But for me here, we are seeing gradual precepts, but we are not there yet. There's still a lot that needs to be done. I think what I want to celebrate now is FDI. If we increase FDI numbers, I know we have something, yes.
Interesting. Dr. Abati, your take.
Well, what we're dealing with basically is the dilemma of Tinubu's economic reforms. Now, they said they were doing something about the exchange rate. They said they were going to remove subsidy. But now the CBN governor comes forward and says, oh, we've been able to grow foreign reserve to 41 billion, and our plan is to take it all the way to $100 billion. And they say, oh, it's doing well for the economy, in the sense that they say the Naira will be more stable, foreign exchange market will be more stable, foreign investors would have more confidence in the Nigerian environment, and clearly it shows that the Tinubu administration seems to be doing better than the Buhari administration. After all, they've grown foreign reserve beyond where they met it. Okay, the question to ask is, the challenge remains at the level of the contradictions between structural and fiscal policies. Those contradictions is what we live with. And that was why I said earlier on that yes, you are celebrating 41 billion, but we have a lot of distortions within the economy. The fiscal side is very weak. Inflation is over 23%. There is multidimensional poverty. Capital projects have been abandoned. State governments are not centers of productivity. They are waiting for handout from federal government on a monthly basis. So all of these contradictions are there, and nobody is addressing the supply side of inflation, which is one of the things that they have to do to get this economy to work. And above all, I simplified it by saying that, okay, you may have foreign reserve, which is external, saving. How about what is going on internally? Ordinary Nigerians cannot feed. Ordinary Nigerians are groaning. Public infrastructure is not working. And then you say, we have money. It's like a father, as I said earlier, saying he's saving for the family. And meanwhile, the children are having kwashoko. They cannot pay school fees. And you say, oh, well, don't worry, we are saving. In fact, these savings, I will take it to 100 billion. Is it when the children die? So we have to address more distortions within the economy. It's not enough to celebrate savings. And I said, realistically, if you look at it, but the time you factor in debts, obligations, and borrowings, revenue to debt ratio, the revenue to debt ratio is so alarming that you cannot be celebrating external reserve, even if you get to 100 billion and you're still borrowing and your revenue to debt ratio is still squeaked. There's still a problem there. President Tinubu going to Yokohama to meet with the Nigerian community there and advising them that things are improving at home and they should come home. Well, after a fashion, that's what Nigerian leaders do. Do you expect the president of Nigeria to go to Japan and then tell them things are bad in Nigeria? I mean, he's the chief marketer of Nigeria. So as he's marketing Nigeria to foreigners, he will also sell Nigeria under his watch to Nigerians that are abroad. And, it's interesting. I was shocked that there are enough Nigerians in Japan. Somebody once said something that if you go to any part of the world, I'm sure there will be Nigerians in Alaska.
Of course.
Yes.
Nigerians will be, there's one Nigerian who lives there with his family.
In fact, the coldest region
and he's very happy to be in Alaska. So go anywhere. I once met one man in some strange part of the world, and he has a family there. So, but for these Nigerians to come home, home where there is the Japa syndrome, and is thriving, we have to provide an enabling environment so that 7,000 Nigerians in Libya will not be repatriated in less than a year. So that 70,000 Nigerians will not be repatriated from Libya within a period of 10 years. So that, when we go to the embassy, the consular officers will be looking at you whether you are likely to japa or not. And the Nigerians that are patriotic, that come home, many of them, when they see the Nigerian condition, many of them run back. So we have to make this country livable, peaceful, and
for everyone.
Enabling.
Absolutely. So now let's head back to Anambra State, because we're getting some new video in the political realm where tensions seem to be going up over there. In this new clip, we see APC governor candidate Nicholas Ukachukwu, who seems to threaten the Anambra deputy governor, Dr. Onyeka Ibezim, in public. It happened in the middle of a crowd during the state's by-elections, and in this video, you can actually hear Ukachukwu tell Ibezim, "You're not going anywhere," adding, "I will burn your cars here, you're not going anywhere." Let's watch this video and discuss it on the other side.
Are you a candidate? Are you a candidate? Nobody's moving. I'm going your cars here. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. God, you can ram me up to you. Ram me up. Did you say we cannot be here? You cannot be here. You have no business to be here. A deputy governor. Not an election. You are deputy governor. You cannot go. You're not police. You think? You're not police. Are you police? Why are you going? It's our community. So you have to right to go to every community am I pulling it? I can be my community and pulling it. Hi, Jesus Christ. Let's
And Dr. Abati, I think I'll start with you on this, just because it's somewhat alarming to hear these kinds of open threats made in public and caught on camera. I know this video happened in the by-elections, but at this stage, how are you seeing this in the context of everything going on in Anambra State?
Well, I have argued that the major takeaway from the by-elections is simply that we have not learned any lessons. And it's not just these by-elections. Since 1999 to date, all the elections conducted in this country, despite electoral reform and all of that, we have not learned any lessons. And there is need for us to continue to work on the electoral framework at all levels. The institutions involved, the personalities involved, the processes, and the management of elections generally. However, what this signposts is a statement about the leadership recruitment process. Now, we always talk about violence, thuggery during elections. These are leaders in their own right. The APC candidate, gubernatorial candidate in the upcoming November 8 election in Anambra, and the incumbent deputy governor of Anambra State meeting at a polling unit and threatening to beat each other up. And the APC candidate saying he will set fire to all the vehicles brought by the deputy governor. These are leaders, and they are talking like thugs, common thugs. So what kind of example are they setting for even the able-bodied men that they recruit to stand in as agents at these polling units? So this is a problem about leadership recruitment. And the people take their cue from the way their leaders behave. Mm-hmm. And I say this democracy is not going to move forward unless we begin to make sure that the people that are recruited into leadership positions at any level are persons who have the character. Because there seems to be a flaw of character with the people who lead us. Have we not seen in this same country during an election time when known prominent people in Nigeria will go and snatch ballot boxes? Or they will go to polling stations to intimidate people. This is just a clear example of it. And I think it's most unfortunate. And we hope that this will not be the pattern on November 8th when Anambra goes to the polls. And this should be a wake-up call for the security agencies to know that Anambra must be secured for the benefit of the ordinary people. If Nicholas Ukachukwu had carried out his threat to set fire to Ibezim's vehicles, imagine the kind of chaos that would have imploded with the two supporters on both sides fighting each other. So it's a very sad commentary on the character of Nigeria's professional political elite. And I say this without generalizing, because this appears to be the trend.
Absolutely.
Let me just say very quickly that, so following the by-elections last weekend, there were accusations and counter-accusations of violence. And so I'm just trying to give what might have been a background to this altercation and this very shameful display of anger and words, carelessly thrown around by both parties. So the Prince Nicholas Ukachukwu and the APC had come out to say that, accused Governor Soludo and his party of violence and hijacking the elections over the weekend. In fact, fact, they released a statement and they're saying that it was fire for fire. They even cited the example of the sitting deputy governor leaving his senatorial zone, central senatorial zone, to come to Anambra South, and that probably that was why he was checking him and saying that you are not above the law, and was trying to take matters into his own hands. Now, where there's a breakdown of law and order and you feel that you're not going to get fairness, everybody then decides to take matters into their own hands. And that is what we have seen a number of times in Nigeria. Now, we can obviously see that it's not limited to Nigerian citizens like you and I. Even for leaders, they don't trust the process such that he was, the affront of the deputy governor to come to his own senatorial district prompted him to say that he would not allow them to go, and he was willing to burn their cars to prevent them from coming into. I mean, this is a show of shame. In an ideal world, he should be brought into for questioning. This should have been investigated. We shouldn't even have an environment where things like this happen, and they don't care that people are recording and it could appear on social media. There's no concern for reputation. There's no concern. This is a man who is running for election in a few months' time, when he should ideally be on his best behavior, because he would risk losing his election. He didn't care, because it means that there's impunity, no consequences, and as we can see and we'll watch in the coming days, no consequences. Who is going to save us from this impunity in Nigeria?
Rufai.
See, with due respect, I don't know why you guys are surprised though. See, how many decent, when I mean decent all-rounder in morals, in character, in outlook, how many decent people go into politics in Nigeria? How many? Can you count? I'm not saying they're not decent, but they're decent people in politics. But how many? I mean, when you or whoever is watching is a person and says they want to go into politics, what's the first thing they tell you? They tell you don't want to be part of touts, togs, and the likes, and that's what's happening. But you see, the bigger joke is on the Nigerian people. And I'll ask you, as 2027 is coming, you're going to vote in this election. I just want a question for you. The man that you are going to vote, can you leave your 6-year-old child with that man for that child, that man or woman, to raise your child? Because there are lots of Nigerians that vote for people they can't even leave their own children with. And they say politics is different. But when their lives are now battered by those decisions, they start to cry. That's just my question. Whoever you're going to vote, can you leave your children with that man to raise for you in a situation where you are not there? That's a food for thought. Let's move ahead.
Absolutely, that is food for thought. This weekend, if you were hoping to take advantage of free entry to Olumo Rock in Ogun State, well, you have until this Saturday, because Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun just announced that due to the massive crowds they've had in recent days, free entry to the site ends this weekend. So it comes after videos have been seen on social media, what looks like, it could be hundreds of people, people of all ages, running, pushing to get up the stairs that prompted this decision. So in a statement, the secretary to the state government and the governor had made Olumo Rock entry free for 2 months to position it as a world-class tourist destination, both locally and globally. But the unprecedented influx of visitors has raised some concerns about overcrowding and public safety. So at certain points, the volume of the crowd was so big that they said it could have resulted in a stampede, but for the swift and professional intervention of security agencies and on-site personnel. And Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. I'm not sure if you've seen the video, but it's very chaotic. What do you think about this decision? Okay,
well, on a lighter note, Nigerians like free things. That same Olumo Rock has been there for forever. And most of the people are now rushing there to go and climb it. They are doing so because entry has been declared free, and everybody will want to take advantage of the free access to the place. That's on the lighter side. But the excitement, of course, is a positive comment on the achievement of the Dapo Abiodun administration in Ogun State. Because many people from the Abeokuta community, from the Ogun State community, seeing the efforts that have been made to transform that 137-meter tall historical site and the beauty of the environment, that has been put in place, will be excited, even out of curiosity, to go and see what has been done. So it shows that, the state government have been able to make an impact in terms of attracting the public. But I think it's also a very good idea that the government has applied a pause to say, well, because of this rush, you will have access up till Saturday. After tomorrow, no more free access. Once people now have to pay to access, you see the crowd will reduce immediately. That's the way of anchoring the lighter note on which I started. But the greater value is the fact that this enhancement of this tourist site teaches us one thing, that if government can invest in tourism, which is a mainstay of many countries' economies elsewhere, it means that the people would embrace it. They will appreciate it. And there are many sites across Nigeria, not just in Ogun State, that can be developed and provide opportunities for people, especially people who travel abroad, to go and show their children the Stonehenge and some other sites, when we have historical sites also in Nigeria. But it's just about management, and investing in tourism is the way to go. So that's the bigger part of the future. However, apart from this free access, on September 4, there's still going to be a special opening, formally, by the Ministry of Arts and Culture and the state government, to formally launch the opening of that refurbished, rehabilitated, enhanced, tourist site at the heart of Egbaland.
Very nice. And so much of this show, as we've been discussing, has been based on videos that have gone viral, videos that have been trending online. So now let's go to some good news, because yes, there's another video that's been trending online that shows a special moment between the writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie and an 11-year-old aspiring writer. Let's see why some people are calling this video, quote, the best thing they've seen today. So the moment itself happened at the Things Fall Apart Festival, which is an event in Enugu celebrating the 67th anniversary of the release of the novel of the same name by Chinua Achebe. But it's this one moment between a young girl and Adichie that's now going viral. Let's watch.
I heard that you said your first novel was rejected 25 times, and I wanted to ask if there was any way you could help me. I've been trying to write a specific novel, but anytime I give it to anybody to read, they say it's mostly like very fictional, and I should work on the fiction. I should make it more realistic. But anytime I try to make it realistic, it just keeps going back to the way it was. I wanted to ask if there's any advice or how I can get your contact.
The only thing you need to do is to tell your story well. Tell it with detail. Make the story interesting. Think about what your character looks like, thinks about. When people are telling you realistic, don't pay attention to them. Focus on the story that you're writing. And you're 11, you're young, there's a long time you will become like me. That is my prayer for you. Sure, you will surpass me. Congratulations, mommy. Well done. Okay.
So one person saying this was so beautiful to watch, her fluency, her confidence, articulation. Children are the future and hope of every society, and it's moments like this that remind us of that. Another person said, when a child is properly brought up and she's focused, when preparation meets opportunity. And what's especially nice is to just see that young girl's confidence talking about her writing at that age. It's so impressive, and it's really worth celebrating.
So impressive and worth celebrating. And there's something to be said about mentoring.
Absolutely.
People like Chimamanda Adichie, they are inspirational figures. And this is Chimamanda Adichie, inspiring this young lady. I look forward to a time in the future when this young lady will become a novelist. And this picture will be published to say, when she was a young girl, she met Chimamanda Adichie. The same way many young girls all want to be like Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And this is what we say about building a good society that is based on talent, hard work, merit, and opportunity.
Absolutely.
I know, this girl will never...
Somebody in the studio is saying some girls want to be like Kemi Bradnock. No, please.
Maybe not. I would say they want to be like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Obieze Kwesili, and the likes. But I just want to say that this girl would never forget this moment. And kudos to her parents. And this is the evidence of investing in education. We have such a bright future for our young people if only we can take it seriously. I'm so happy about this. And like you've said, I look forward to seeing her on world stages doing Nigeria proud.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Annie.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes.
And that's all on today's edition of The Morning Show.